I asked for questions on my Instagram like 2 weeks ago and also like 3 months before that, and I just never did it because I'm the worst. And so I thought that I would maybe redeem myself and make it up to you guys by compiling the questions that I got from both of those little things on Instagram. You know, the thing where you tap it and then you tippy types and then it whoo into the world. God, it's been a weird day. Before we begin, the eagle-eyed among you will notice that we have a friend joining us today. This is my son, Milo. Yes, he's got a name, and yes, I love him more than anything in the whole world. It's no secret that raccoons are my favourite. So, this has made me happier than I ever thought possible. Okay, let's go. Oriane asks, any travel trips planned? So not only am I working in Berlin for 2 months over the summer, which I am so excited about because Berlin is my favourite place in the whole world. I will be turning 21 there, which is just going to be too cool for me to even handle. But I'm also very much hoping to be in Canada at the end of August. I have so many friends who live there. I've always wanted to go to Canada anyway. And it will be a really cool way to sort of finish off the summer right before I go into my 3rd year of university. Good lord, that's a nightmare. Christy says, what advice would you give about being vulnerable/open online? So this is a topic that is so complex and interesting and probably deserves its whole own video, which I will most likely get round to. Well, I say that. We all know I'm garbage. I think the simplest way that I could kind of address this is that everyone has their own boundaries and everyone has their own levels of what they are comfortable sharing online. What's important is figuring out what those are for you, and that's what takes some time, and that's where some mistakes can be made along the way about sort of maybe not being super healthy for your audience in terms of what you're sharing and also for yourself. You have to make sure that online life and private life have distinction, because otherwise it just gets way fucked. You can quote me on that. Megan asks, how's uni? Uni has been such a mixed bag for me. I'm now halfway through my 2nd semester of my 2nd year, so I'm over halfway through my degree. My 1st year and my 2nd year have been so vastly different that it kind of feels like I've had two completely separate experiences, and I'm trying to figure out how they like mesh. Without oversharing too much, that's a little callback to that question we just talked about. I was basically in love with someone in my 1st year and I was really happy, and then that relationship came to an end. But the fact that I am at uni with that person obviously hasn't come to an end. So it's been really weird having to like rethink my whole uni experience because it was so crafted around this one person. And that was great and that was fine, but when I stopped being able to be with them, it was like I had to completely reevaluate and rethink what I thought uni was, and I didn't realise how much I had kind of based it on just that relationship and the friendship around that relationship and that kind of thing until I didn't have it anymore. So uni has been good, like university, like learning and doing my course has been great. It's been all of the like personal shit that's kind of got me all fucked up. Starlet asks, what do you think your friends would say is your biggest flaw? Bonus, see what they say. I would love to do that bonus, but 2 of them are asleep and 2 of them aren't here, so that would be hard. This is a difficult question because I have a weird complex that every single part of my personality, even the bits that I like, have like a negative to them and can be flipped in a way that also makes them bad. I think my biggest flaw, and I'm pretty sure most of my close friends would agree, is that I am very, very sensitive and very emotional and very soft. I get my feelings hurt really easily, but I'm not good at standing up for myself or telling someone that they've hurt me, which means that usually it just ends up in a cycle where I'm getting hurt and I'm complaining about it, but then not actually like taking the assertive steps to fix those problems. And that's, I know for a fact, is very annoying. Foovs, which is a great word to say out loud, says, are you bi? I always see you calling yourself a lesbian and I'm confused. Aren't we all foofs? Aren't we all? You could definitely use the word bisexual to describe me. You could also use pansexual. You could also use homo-flexible. Basically, I like everyone. Sex and gender don't really mean much to me in terms of sexuality. I tend to find myself more attracted to girls and lean much more into female relationships, even though I tend to date more boys because girls don't like me. Whenever I call myself a lesbian, it is usually in a joking manner because at this point I don't really see the reason to have so many labels. I know that that can help some people identify themselves, but I think it puts you in a box and then it can be difficult when your sexuality changes, as it inevitably does. So yeah, don't think about it too much. I just like girls and boys and everyone else as well. Laura asks, how do you become so confident in yourself and your style? I always find it really interesting when I get these kind of questions because I know that outwardly I appear quite confident and I know how to make myself seem confident, but I would never use that word to actually describe myself. So I don't really know. I'm sorry. I think something that's really important to everyone's style and everyone's self-expression is to not take it too seriously and to allow yourself to have fun and to experiment with it. Because I would have never discovered that I love drawing random lines on my face if I didn't get bored one day and think, hey, how about we throw some lines on here and just see what happens? Reese asks, what's your favourite night out in Norwich? I kind of feel like I have to say the LCR a little bit because I do love it and I have had so many good times there. But I've been there so much now that it kind of feels like, you know when you play Mario Kart and you do a time trial and then when you go again you have like that little ghost of you? It feels like I've got like 17 of those happening because I'm just like, oh, that's where I cried a lot that one time. Oh, that's where someone made me upset. A lot of these are to do with me getting upset. Can you sense a pattern? Because I can. The realistic answer is probably propaganda at the waterfront because it's a bloody good time and I love me a bit of like Arctic Monkeys, MCR, Blink-182 and Come On Eileen. That's just like the whole night every time. Awkward Space Girl asks, when did you have your first girlfriend and how did you guys get together? The first person that I dated that wasn't a boy was when I was 16, 17 maybe. I don't know. And we met because we were really, really good friends for a long time and then had that classic thing of like, oh shit, I think I like you a little bit more. Oh no. Indulekain, maybe, asks, how do you know German? I don't know how many times I've said this on my channel because I feel like I've said it a lot, but then there are so many people who are still confused. So apologies if you know this already, but my mum is German, hence the slightly unorthodox spelling of my name. And basically my dad spoke English to me and my mum spoke German, and so for like 3 months I was talking like a weird mishmash of those two, but then I got it and now I can speak both fluently, which is pretty damn neat because I did absolutely no work. And finally, Jennifer asks, how to heal a broken heart ASAP. The problem is, Jennifer, it's not gonna be ASAP. The whole thing about heartbreak is that it takes a bloody long time to figure out and then get over and then figure out again and then get... It's like, it's not like a line, it's not just like a straight like, here's being okay and here's being upset and you're just gonna be like, I did it. It's more like, oh, all the way over there and then like all the way over there and then at one point like down here for some reason and then eventually you kind of get close. So, lots of ice cream, watch really, really soppy romantic movies and just like cry aggressively, loudly. These are all very important. And ultimately treat yourself like your best friend when you're going through a breakup, because a lot of us have a tendency to get really hard on ourselves and to let it impact our self-esteem when that is the opposite of what you need. And so don't like beat yourself up. Literally give yourself the advice that you would give your best friend in the whole world if they were going through the same thing, and you will be a-okay, I promise. And that is all of the questions that I'm going to get through today. I will inevitably be doing this again because I love talking. It's like a weird like mini conversation with like all the people who asked a question. I get to just like talk to them for a second. I will sign off now. Look at him. I love him so much, guys. It's actually quite sad.